Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Monday Night Football doubleheader. Prop, draft, picks, preview. Additionally, we'll recap a little bit of what happened in week number 7 to this point, because there's still 2 games left. Ryan Noonan from Betsperts.com on the line, and 4for4 football. Sir, did you enjoy yourself a week 7? Because I certainly did.
Yeah, I had a good week 7. I enjoyed it. Had a nice little uncorrelated hit, which helped make the day really nice. So Jalen Lane been into the Commanders situation being a little bit of an unknown. So we went under 3.5 receptions, 60 plus yards. And he was a gentleman. He got there exactly on the number. He got 3 receptions and 60 yards on the dot. And then we had to hold our breath for solid 45 minutes of like game time almost. He got there early and then just, didn't get targeted at all for the rest of it. So nice little 19-1 cap on the weekend. It felt really good.
Yeah, I gave out the Tua and Dylan Gabriel double unders. I played that earlier in the week, and I went hard on it. Did a $500 wager on it on Underdog, and got myself a nice little payday on that. Won a nice same gamer with the Chargers and Colts game. The DraftKings lineup that I built on the show, that was the overload of Justin Herbert and the Colts, turned out really well too. So a very good day, 2-0 during the best bets. The teaser already hit. Just fantastic news to start the week. So I imagine Monday's either going to go great or go very poorly for us. But I did want to get some of your thoughts on what happened with some of these injuries. If you're a Commanders fan, this is like the worst case scenario, especially for this 3-game stretch coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not good. Hamstring injuries are we know they linger, right? That's just not something that you bounce back from. And he relies so much. Jane Daniels relies so much on his legs, right? So whether to extend plays or to create, it's a problem. And as you laid out, at Kansas City, Seattle, Detroit, next 3, real tough stretch on Monday night to go to Kansas City, who I don't know what happened there. 31-0, and I don't think it was even kind of that close. They had like 21 first downs in the first half, which is just absolutely insane. They absolutely dominated that game. So it's a really tough spot. I mean, we're not getting into sides and totals, but 10 with Kansas City with how they're playing right now against Marcus Mariota probably seems light, which is, weird to just trip over yourself to lay double digits in the NFL. But yeah, the Commanders are down bad. Chiefs seem to be going the other way. So yeah, that was kind of some of my bigger takeaways.
We really shouldn't believe it. I asked this question to Cam and Cust on the Sunday night show as the instant reaction. But if you were to tier the teams in the AFC right now, we know that there's like this big bottom of just like 5 really incredibly crappy teams. But if you were to go to the top, like in your mind, is it like Chiefs, Gap, or is it like Chiefs, Colts, Bills kind of thing?
I think it's Chiefs,
You're
Gap.
Patriots.
Look, Patriots currently your AFC East division leader at 5-2 with the the heads up against the Bills. So it matters. And again, some softer games still here in the next month or so. Tricky. The Browns coming home, and then the Falcons and Bucks. But then we got more Jets and Dolphins lined up. So yeah, schedule for New England is very soft. So definitely very much in the mix, but not to be absolutely confused at all with where I think Kansas City is. Now, I think the Colts are real. I think they deserve applause for how they're getting coached up right now, which I think is some secondary injuries that I think are really impactful, and they continue to do a good job at finding ways to create pressure and kind of mitigate some of those things in the back half. Shavarius Ward with a awful concussion, not just running into your teammate pregame, but they landed him on IR. So a bad concussion that you're like, hey, we're just shutting this guy down for a month is a problem. He has been awesome. He's their only really, Kenny Moore's okay in the slot still, losing a little bit of a step there, I think. But yeah, not having Shavarius Ward mattered a little bit in terms of like what Herbert was able to do from a cumulative stat standpoint, but they're just a wagon offensively. Like they're able to do whatever. Everyone that they have kind of complements each other. So they're a real threat at the top. But I still think even though, the 4-3 Chiefs are not up there from a win-loss standpoint, I think they are by far the best team.
Where would you put Baltimore into this mix with Lamar expected to be healthy for next week?
Yeah, part of that is also the schedule in Baltimore, right? So Lamar comes back. I think Roquan Smith comes back. So none of their guys really look like they were going to be long-term injuries. They're not underdogs for the rest of the year. They are, 6.5, 7-point favorites at Chicago. Then they got Miami, Minnesota, Cleveland, the Jets, Cincinnati. Like they have a bunch of winnable games, and they have a bunch of games against their opponents in the division. So the fact that they're going to be able to probably head into the playoffs on I don't know necessarily a win streak, but at least trending up with Lamar. They're going to be a really tough team for someone like the Colts is going to have to, have them and host them in a playoff game, or maybe even New England or something like that could be really tricky. They're definitely trending. I get it. And the market's telling us that too, right? The market is not, hey, this team is, a one-win football team. They're telling us that we believe that the Ravens are going to be closer to who we thought they were coming in. Now, again, I think that there's still some questions along the defensive side of the ball that you're still going to be needing them to score 35 points a lot to win. I just think they're probably going to be able to do it.
Trying to look at the division winner odds right now. They are, let's see, Steelers plus 125, Ravens plus 140, Bengals plus 425. The Bengals beat the Jets this week. They're a half game back in the division.
Crazy. The Flacco move was obviously a good one for them. I'm a little bit surprised, and I want to see a little bit more of it because Flacco last year with the Colts was awful. Flacco this year with the Browns was awful. So maybe it does help having, I don't know, the best receiver in the game. Another good one on the other side too. So showing a little bit of a pulse, but the Ravens are still plus 145 and they have one win. Right. So that tells you, you're not getting necessarily a great buy low opportunity. And that's kind of where they've bottomed out at this point. Like, we really never got a good number at like 2-1 or 3-1 on the Ravens. So the market never really was buying that the Ravens were completely out of the picture.
But let's say we do buy into that. That not necessarily that they're not completely out of the picture. Like you mentioned, they're favored in every game. But like, what if Lamar just pulls a Jaden Daniels and tweaks his hamstring 2 weeks from now? Then they are officially cooked. We see what they look like without Lamar. Is there value on betting the Bengals at plus 425?
It's not a bet that I want to make. The defense is still just a problem. They, at least I will say that kudos to the Bengals that they have made some like personnel changes and brought in some of like their first and second year guys that they've drafted here to give them more prominent roles, to just be like, hey, what we've been doing with kind of the older guys that have been here is just not working. So let's make some changes. I need to see what they do with the trade deadline to see if they actually want to hold on to Trey Hendrickson. Like, I think they could probably realize that, maybe they get some false hope from that win the other night, and maybe they want to look at themselves as maybe contenders. But I think it would make some sense for them to kind of see if they can leverage anything with Hendrickson and move on from that, and just kind of realize where they are in the, hierarchy of the current AFC, knowing that you're going to get your quarterback next year. So why don't we leverage that a little bit while we can? So I get why someone would want to take a stab around 5-1. I just think that the Ravens are legit contenders here, and I'm not buying the Steelers, so that's probably part of it too. So I guess we want the number to be a little bit bigger than 5-1.
I guess I'm trying to find where it is right now, that maybe the bet isn't necessarily like, if you're going to basically bet the don't pass line on the Ravens, that is there a to miss the playoffs bet on them that's just simply better than the Bengals to win the division bet, because you still have to factor in Pittsburgh. Like you mentioned, just we'll continue to not believe in Pittsburgh, and then they'll be 10-7. Somehow they'll win this division, and that's just the way it's probably going to go.
Yeah, I see Ravens minus 130 on FanDuel to miss the playoffs.
Minus 130, really?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind then. I thought it would be, if they're plus 140 to win the division, it seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, actually not a ton of holds relative to what we would expect in there. Right, because I think they're telling us that they're not even to make the playoffs, because I imagine that to make the playoffs bets, let's see what is to make the playoffs for the Ravens. They are, plus 106, yes. You can lay on, actually, so DraftKings and MGM seem to have better numbers, 125. So not much different, minus 125 to miss, plus 106 to make. Yeah, so if you want to say that there's a case for them to, not pass the Steelers win the division, because at that point you should just probably bet them to win the division.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be like 2-1, 3-1 at that point. So, I'd rather just probably, my bet of the Ravens not winning the division would be like a bet on the Bengals to be better than the Steelers the rest of the year, which is probably not the right move to take. So probably just pass on that. If you had to pick the 7 AFC teams right now, Patriots, Bills, winner of AFC North, Colts, Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers? Is that overlooking Jacksonville and the Texans?
No, the Jacksonville. I've been out. I'm glad they're finally starting to lose because that's just been waiting for that to fall apart. Just propped up by insane turnover, defensive touchdown variance, special teams play. I could not be more out on Jacksonville. So yeah, Denver, Kansas City for sure. Indy, as you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, bodes well for New England. And again, the schedule is really nice. It gets tricky. So maybe there is something to be said there for maybe a Houston, maybe the Chargers. Again, I still think that they got shellacked a little bit. Maybe they get a little bit more healthy. That's a problem for them. But again, we know the Chargers, right? The Chargers are going to get healthy and then they're going to lose someone else. So it's just a matter of time. Sorry, Jeff. It just is kind of, I'm sure he's used to it by now. But yeah, there's still a path for the Chargers, Texans, Jags, I guess, to kind of fill that 7th spot. Unless maybe you think it's the Bengals. Maybe you're really buying the Bengals.
I'm not really buying the Bengals. I'm not really buying anyone outside of the Ravens, but I do see how things go very poorly for the Ravens. As you even mentioned, like their defense is still, I don't want to say terrible. It's not good by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. I mean, Bengals are 3-1 in conference. They're 2-0 in the division. That helps a little bit. They've struggled with the non-conference games, but if we're looking to break ties later in the year, if this Flacco thing is good, that helps them a little bit. And I think they have a good amount of divisional games remaining. Yeah, Pittsburgh, both Baltimore games, then they finished with Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, those Baltimore games, that's a tough little stretch for them coming out of the bye. At Pittsburgh, New England, at Baltimore, at Buffalo, and then Baltimore again. So, real tough stretch for Cincy there from like 11 to 15. But again, they can make their hay at that point too, right? So you start to separate and beat those teams. Those are almost like 1.25, 1.5 wins. So those matter a lot.
What are the vibes like? Oh, go ahead.
I'm warming up to that a little bit, right? There's some like very important leverage games for the Bengals. So I don't hate almost 5-1.
Yeah, you just they have to win them is the hard part of it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
In the NFC, you're in the Chicago area. How are people feeling about the Bears? Because I do not know what to make of them. They look kind of awesome for 2 series a game and then like really pathetic for 2 series a game. And they're 4-2. That seems really good, but I feel like they would have no chance against the Packers or the Lions, or we'll see what they do against the Vikings the next time around. Like they had the Vikings dead to rights in week 1 and let them win. So I don't know what to make of this team.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the team either. I mean, you got to think about like historic Chicago Bears football. And again, we have like no team has ever got more juice out of a singular championship than the 85 Bears. And again, they were an all-time team, but like, you would think actually that team probably should have won more or like even gone to another Super Bowl and they didn't. But like the amount of like stuff that we hear about locally about the 85 Bears is absolutely bonkers. This team is like dying, or the city is dying for a good football team. They've just never had quarterback play that is even remotely around league average. We can argue that maybe they still kind of don't, but at least they feel like they have a pulse with a head coach and like there's some positive momentum to what's going on. So the city is like going to attach itself to anything like that. Again, they get Baltimore and Cincinnati back-to-back road games here to see if they can continue to show a pulse. They beat up on some soft teams here as of late. Caleb didn't look really good yesterday, but the defense is getting better. And part of the defense just was not healthy for a little bit. So they were able to get run on for a while. TJ Edwards was out of the lineup forever. Kyler Gordon back in the slot. He's great against the run. He's a really good slot defender. Teams were absolutely picking on the Bears in the slot for a couple of weeks. So they're at least kind of rounding in the form defensively. They're doing some stuff differently than years past. Dennis Allen plays a lot more man, a lot more aggressive in blitzes. So I do think the defense can be maybe better than what we would look at right now if you just kind of look at EPA, success rate, DVOA, where we are to date for the Bears. I think that's not really telling the story of what the actual current defensive unit is and how we maybe should be projecting them moving forward. So there's some winnable games, but they're going to be dogs most of the way. They have, it looks like, 3 games left in the schedule where they're going to be favorites. The Giants, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. But yeah, the schedule is tough. That's the tough part with the Bears.
Okay, so who do you think has a better chance of these teams to make the playoffs? Dallas, Minnesota, Chicago, Carolina? Dallas, right?
I mean, Carolina also another team that picked on some pretty rough
Carolina
teams.
stinks. They're 4-3 and they stink. Like let's not pretend like they're a good team. but it's fun.
I agree with you. Yeah, not Carolina. I want to buy into Minnesota a little bit. Again, it's part of its coaching on both sides of the ball. The Carson Wentz experience yesterday was, I mean, if people actually watched the football game,
he wasn't bad until they got inside the 20-yard line. Like, they kicked 5 field goals in the red zone.
yeah, he had some like absolutely disaster. And I was watching it early. I had ended up being okay. I think it played Jordan Addison over 41.5 receiving yards.
Oh yeah, he got there.
That ended up he had 100 and change, but like early it was a little sweaty because like multiple times wide open, ball behind him, uncatchable ball out of bounds. And then he would make some plays and find Justin Jefferson. And then, they picked on Dory Jackson, and then he went out and they picked on Keely Ringo. That second cornerback spot for the Eagles is a tough one right now. But the Carson Wentz experience is tricky. Again, they've made their hay. They've said we're going back to JJ. I think that's the right thing to do. I don't think you should pull the plug after 2 games on a guy that you've basically leveraged your future on by punting on Sam Darnold. So I believe in the defense and what they can do. Schematically, they're just different. And Kevin O'Connell's a guy that we have a history of him kind of being kingmaker, a quarterback. So hopefully the JJ comes back healthy. They would be the team that I think definitely has a path to the playoffs.
Here's the problem. At Chargers, at Lions, home Ravens, home Bears, at Packers, at Seahawks next 6 weeks. Like, that could be 0-6.
It could be 0 wins. It's brutal schedule. Again, another team that only has 3 games where they're favored. Chicago, at Dallas, at the Giants. And again, back-to-back games, Detroit and Green Bay.
But those teams they might not be good.
Yeah, they're feisty. No, I agree.
They're very you can't overlook them until you get to like the final 5 minutes of the game. Then you can just score 25 points against the Giants, and that will turn out fine. And
their favorite is 2.5, right? So they're not like it's necessarily coin flips. 2 of them are on the road, but it's not like they're like substantial favorites in any game. Like they're barely favored in the 3 games that they're favored in.
Like, for example, Dallas plays at the Broncos this week. Wouldn't be super stunned if Dallas won, because the Broncos they're not a farce, but they play like a team that is a farce. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, their defense is so good.
Absolutely wild.
And like, they can't do anything offensively. Like, they should be able to do stuff offensively. If they can't get it going against the Dallas defense, they got some real problems. Like, they will be a fake. They might even win that division, and you'll be sitting there in week 1 of the playoffs and be like, I'm going to take the underdog here.
Yeah, and they got 2 games still against Kansas City. They very much could still win that division without a doubt. I'm with you. I think there are pieces on both sides of the ball that made us, I think, rightly encouraged about where they were trending coming into the year. If you can get Sean Payton to continue to be someone that can maximize the traits that Bo Nix has, we just continue to get these, I don't know, 3/4 brain farts from Bo Nix, where it just looks like, what are they doing? Like, I don't know. They had a couple of offensive line injuries heading into this week's game, which were a problem. They've had so much continuity along the offensive line for the last year and change heading into this year, and then lost a couple of starters this week. So they can get healthy along the offensive line. That would help them. But yeah, I mean, they're just a total Jekyll and Hyde, really hard team week to week to get a handicap on, because they can beat anybody, right? They should have won that Colts game. That Colts game was a weird leverage field goal call. They came back in that one. Like, they're very close to having, some more wins on the schedule for sure.
But they're also 2 plays away from the Giants and Jets beating them in consecutive weeks.
Totally fair. Yeah, I mean, the Chargers game was wild. The Indy game was wild. They kind of played with their food even against Tennessee, which in hindsight, in week 1, thinking about that was, it's kind of wild when we think about what Tennessee is right now. So yeah, I just, the range of outcomes, if I'm betting sides and totals, the Broncos are almost a stay away from me. I just don't know what to expect in a given week. Without a doubt, this current iteration of the Cowboys with their passing game can without a doubt go and find ways to pick apart Denver.
Well, that's the thing. If the Cowboys can manage a way to win in Denver, and playing in Denver, I think, is really the tough part here. But if they can manage to do that one, they got the Cardinals at home and then at the Raiders, they could be 6-3-3 going into the very, very difficult part of their schedule. But is there a way? It'd be hilarious if they traded for Trey Hendrickson after getting rid of Micah Parsons just to get back some pass rush. But is there any path to their defense getting better? Because if they could get a little bit better, they could basically just be like the Bengals from last year, who went on that big run at the end of the year and just didn't have enough. But this team is currently situated with its record to be. And listen, they tied the Packers. They almost beat the Eagles in week 1. Like, they're playing well against good teams.
They're going to just have to beat you by scoring 35 or more. They can do it. They 100% can do it. We've seen it routinely. They have scored at least 40, I think, in all of their home games this year. So it's not without, something that we're not asking them to do something they can't do. The path for them defensively it's not there. They actually, I think, can be okay scraping together some pass rush. The corners are terrible. They gave Deron Bland a ton of money, and he did it again yesterday with a pick six and pick six.
But this is what he does. He's not covering anyone. He's just waiting to get. It's like he just stands there like, man, I hope he makes a bad throw so I can have a pick six. I'm gonna let my defender run open down the field and just hope no one sees him. That's his entire strategy.
He's a better version of his teammate on the other side, Trayvon Diggs, who has been arguably the worst corner in the league and actually hasn't even made a play on the ball. There's something that Next Gen Stats calculates, like the ball hawk percentage. His is 0.0. That's all he does, because everything else is like completion rate over expected, his EPA per target, all these things that are like these new advanced stats that we have on Next Gen Stats show you that Travion Henderson's also terrible. Trayvon Diggs is arguably the worst cornerback in the league. It's bad. So no, I don't think there's a path for them. They traded their slot corner, Jordan Lewis, to the Jaguars. It's just a absolute disaster in the secondary. So yeah, we need to continue to attack them in props, passing games. They can win, but it's going to be them going over. This game against Denver, it's like 49.5. It's moving to like 50 and change. Like we would not expect that for a Denver game for sure, especially with their questions offensively. So that's just kind of where we are with the Cowboys. They're going to be fun, I think, as long as Dak stays healthy. But in terms of like their anything getting from improvements defensively, I'm kind of down on.
I'm really holding out hope from our futures draft when I had Dak to lead the league in passing yards. I'm just hoping that this sticks and this happens all season long. I worry if it gets a bit too cold in December, maybe the offense regresses just a little bit. They play a bunch of, I think, indoor games towards the end of the season, which is very nice to see. And actually, no, they're at Commanders, at Giants to end the year. But if this Jaden Daniels injury is real, which we don't know yet, he's going for an MRI. I'm guessing he's out 2 to 3 weeks right now, that if they just come back and they're 3-6, that maybe he doesn't come back kind of thing.
Yeah, they do get a good run here, though. Outside of the Denver game, they don't have another outdoor game until Washington and the Giants. So yeah, it is a stretch of like 6-7 games of playing either at home or on the road in the Dome.
Chiefs Cowboys could be a lot of fun on Thanksgiving.
It could be a lot of fun on Thanksgiving. That's what we want on Thanksgiving too. In that spot, especially, it's kind of when most people are kind of eating. It's right around a good time. That could be absolute fireworks. Yeah, without a doubt, that'd be great.
So I don't want to say that these are locks to make the playoffs in the NFC, because stuff changes all the time. But Philly, Green Bay, Detroit, Tampa, Rams, Niners. I'll give the Seahawks one right now, although we don't know what's happening with them on Monday Night Football. We'll talk about that in a second. That's 7 right there. Do you think those will end up being the 7 teams?
I do, which always feels weird because like so easy to just be prisoner of the moment and be like, yeah, this is where we're at. I think Seattle's real. Again, they've been getting it done without a couple of really key guys defensively, like 3 important starters the last couple of weeks, and still showing up and playing really solid defense. Those guys are all just like, they've all been kind of questionable leading into the game. So nothing I think we should expect long-term. Sounds like the Rams kind of broke nicely with the Puka news. That seemed like it could have been an IR scenario where he's out for 4 weeks, but like kudos to Sean McVay. They ran 3 tight end sets like over 50% of the time yesterday. They haven't done that for like more than 5 snaps in a season for like 4 years. So he's just like, all right, this is what we got currently. This is what we're going to do. And like, I just always trust him to figure out what he needs to do to win football games. So kudos to the Rams again. If you continue to get Matthew Stafford healthy, there's no way that I don't think that's a playoff football team. Niners, yeah, again, another team that probably shouldn't be 5-2 considering what's happened to them. The problem with them is that some of their injuries are a little bit more long-term, but again, their schedule is super soft. That was part of the handicap for the Niners coming into the year. That's why they were lined at 10.5 over/under in the win market, because the schedule is super soft. We keep talking about the Patriots and the Bills in the AFC. The Niners are that inverse in the NFC. So Tampa Bay is a wagon. I kind of agree with you.
I disagree, but that's me. I think that I don't want to say that they're. I mentioned this last night. Cuss got very upset with me, but it's not that they're fool's gold. It's just that you can't win every game on the last play of the game every week. It just can't work like that.
Yeah, it's fair, but they're again doing it with a bunch of jabronis at receiver, right? Like And again, that's another team defensively to scheme for that's a little different because of the way that Todd Bowles likes to blitz and do things. Like they're a little bit challenging for, I think, teams to play. There's just a couple of those teams where, like, I don't know if you played, play high school basketball, and like there's just this one team that runs a 1-3-1, and it's like, well, no one runs that. It's really hard for us to like even practice against it because we don't run it ourselves. So we don't even know what they're doing. So then the one team that plays it every year, it's just why I think Minnesota sometimes, if you play teams out of the division, out of conference, they're kind of just so unique to kind of scheme against. So I think Tampa Bay does have that. It does make up for some of their lack of talent defensively with how they do things. And like some of these guys are going to come back. Bucky's going to come back. Mike Evans maybe comes back tonight. Again, Abuka looked like he was going to be long-term. He's practicing. He probably sits tonight.
I you know what? I should probably take a look at that because we're doing this on the Monday morning to see if there's any more news on him. That feels like such a smokescreen.
It probably is. And again, I think they have, where's their bye? He's coming up. 2 weeks out. So I don't think Abuka's playing, but at least it's not IR, right? It's not going to be 4 weeks. So I doubt we see him, and I doubt we see him next week. Even we're seeing like, he probably looks like he might be trending that way. They'd be probably smart to just send him, especially if they get Mike Evans back. But again, I just think that they're, separating enough in that division at 5-1, where again, the Falcons, I don't really believe in. They're another kind of Jekyll and Hyde team. And I'm kind of with you. The Panthers, I think I just don't believe in Bryce Young, and now he's hurt. So what's to make of that? I think they're comfortably winning that division. The North is still, I think, wide open to me, and rightfully so. And I wanted to short the Commanders coming into the year. And now if you're going to tell me that they're playing without their quarterback for another week or two, that's an easy spot for me to fade them. The Cowboys are, like, we kind of made that case already, but Eagles definitely turn on the Jets this week. So I think those are probably 7 teams.
Yeah. Dallas, one of Dallas, the Bears, Vikings, or Falcons probably ends up making it. Just, we don't know which one of those teams is going to be real, which one is going to be absolutely phony the rest of the season. Although you could probably lock on the Falcons being 8-9 or 9-8 at this point, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but I'm a believer in the 3 West teams. I think the Niners, Rams, and Seahawks are playoff teams. And again, not uncommon for us. We've seen this since we've moved to 7, that we do see this occasionally. We saw it in the AFC West last year. We can get it in the AFC North as well, where you get these 3 playoff teams from the same division.
You know how much time I spend researching bets and lineups and shows and getting everything ready for you? So when it's actually time to sleep, I need it to count. That's why I switched to a Helix mattress, and honestly, game changer. I have Helix mattresses all over my house. My wife and I have one. The guest room has one. My kids have one. I got a kid on the way, and eventually they're going to have one too. Even Jared over at the studio living there, I got him a Helix mattress as well. Populated with Helix. You need to do it too. I used to wake up with a stiff back and night sweats. Now I just sleep through the night. No tossing around, no overheating. It's just comfortable and supportive. I took their quiz, I tailored it to myself, and boom, I got exactly what I needed from the mattress I deserve. I think you deserve a nice one too. So go to helixsleep.com/Mayo for 27% off, an exclusive to Pat Mayo Experience listeners. That's helixsleep.com/Mayo for 27% off. Make sure to enter my show name after checkout so they know I sent you. helixsleep.com/Mayo. For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly. Now that I'm old, I've had to come to the fact that I just don't bounce back the way that I used to. I don't wake up in the morning feeling normal. And now that football season has started, that is absolutely unacceptable, because I got work to do in the morning, and I got kids that are waking up. It's no good. But that isn't a problem anymore, because I found ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. The ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, invented by PhD scientists to tackle the rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol the first drink of your night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel the best tomorrow. Go to zbiotics.com/PatMayo to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use PatMayo at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/PatMayo and use the code PatMayo at checkout for 15% off. We did pretty well with the props last week. Since we started doing these prop drafts for Monday Night Football, we did them for both the doubleheader weeks. We've been way on one game and way off on the other game. That reared its ugly head last week. So we hit the same game parlay, 4-legger that we put together, one for the Bills and Falcons between me, you, Connor, and the computer, SharpStack. 4for4.com/Mayo to get SharpStack. Use code Mayo50. You get a free 7-day trial. And if you like it and you've used code Mayo50, you get 50% off the monthly plan after that. We'll throw it up right now and take a look at what the odds are in real time for these games. But I had the Bijan over receiving yards. You had the James Cook over rushing attempts. Let's see. The computer had Josh Allen under 30.5 pass attempts. That was a winner. And what the hell did Connor take here? Keon Coleman under 41.5 receiving yards. So I was 2-1. You were 1-2. Connor was 2-1. Connor was 1-2, and the computer was 2-1 last week. So I'm winning our competition in this prop draft. So I should probably stop this segment as it goes right now anyway, just so I can come out on top. But I'm not going to do that because we're going to do Tampa and Detroit. Me, you, and the computer. Then we're going to do the second game. Then we're going to do an auxiliary pick and see what we're doing for this game right now. The best number on the market is 6. Actually, if you have something called Fliff, or if you live in Florida, for Hard Rock, -5.5. If you want to get my boost, you can get that right now at coolbet.com. If you're in Canada, outside of Ontario, fastest payouts in the biz. Hit the description to get there. But you can also find, everything going on with the NFL right here. Tampa Bay and the Lions. It's 5.5 still here. I like the Lions -5.5. I have two kind of strong takes on these games, but I do like -5.5 for the Lions in this game.
Yeah, I like the Lions too. I think it's a nice spot for them. It'd be a tough matchup, especially if we had a full strength Tampa Bay, but we don't have a full strength Tampa Bay. So the secondary injuries, and then Brian Branch suspension for this game too. Would I think that you could find some opportunities from the pick on it? So maybe that's a Baker play, right? We're still gonna have to chuck the ball a ton, but I kind of lean with the Lions here at home, less than 6 for sure.
So let's take a look at the computer. The computer can have first pick in this draft after going 2-1 last week for the Tampa Bay Detroit game. And this updates in real time. There's not a lot of plus EV numbers on the market right now, especially from this game, but it is Baker Mayfield passing completions under 22.5 is the top rated one. One thing I really like to do on this is use the projections tab to go in and just see what some of the numbers are. If, like, for example, Baker is projected for 22 rushing yards in this game, which he feels like he's right around every single week. Then you can go to the prop screen and go to rushing yards and just see what the market bears for Baker Mayfield in this spot. I put in receiving yards. Like, where the hell is he at? Rushing yards, Baker Mayfield, 18.5 is his lowest in the market. That's at FanDuel right now. Like, I think that's a pretty good look, over 18.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, he's just had some of these, and you can even do longest rush would make sense to me too, because he's been, and I think he's lined at 3.5 rushes as well. So that tells you we're expecting a few opportunities, and he's had one of these long 14, 15 yarders every week as well. So I don't hate that look at all. It's definitely something I took a look at.
10.5 -110 is the number right now. How do you feel about the Bucs offensive line? I know Wirfs is back, but it feels like everyone else isn't. And the one thing Detroit's really doing, Hutchinson is blowing up people's spots, and he can chase down Baker. He's as fast as Baker.
Hutchinson's been awesome. Yeah, he's he's a beast. It's a tough spot. I mean, they got guys back in their position. I mean, they were using their center to play left tackle for a few weeks. That's never a good sign. There's still some injuries along the front there for Tampa Bay. And again, Wirfs is great, but we've seen this historically. You can't do it alone. There's going to be some opportunities for them to kind of mix and match and find some guys. They've been getting actually some good spots from guys on the other side of Hutch, which has been kind of the problem for him since Hutch has been in the league, is finding a complementary piece. And, they've kind of throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, and they've had some pretty good success. So, yeah, I think Baker, that's what we look at too, is how often guys scramble. Can the team generate pressure as well? I think that's a big part of it.
It's funny because the prop for the next game was actually stolen by the computer for me, which is kind of funny. Where would you go as your prop? So Baker under 22.5, minus 106 at DraftKings. If you can hit this like plus minus tab on the left-hand side, you can see what the VIG is and the number is at each of the sites. So at DraftKings, it's minus 106. For the same number at, I don't know, hell, like at Hard Rock, it's minus 120. So you're saving yourself 14 cents right there. If you have Fanatics, it's actually minus 105. But do people even have Fanatics? Isn't that only available in like 2 states?
No, it's available, but they literally, there's a lot of books they're like quick to limit you. And there's just nothing like Hard Rock. Or like Fanatics. Fanatics, literally, I just don't know anyone that can get like more than $10 down on a bet at Fanatics. So it's tough. Yeah, you can earn your Fanatics points by betting your $10 at a time, but it's a book I have access to. I don't even open it.
All right, so where do you want to go? So Baker under 22.5, minus 105 is the computer's pick for passing completions in this game. Are you going to go to the rushing one? Because I might do that.
No, I'll let you take it if you want it.
I don't know. I don't know exactly where I want to go. Like, this game is
okay.
This is one of the games where I like the spread. I don't know which props that I like.
I'm going to stay in the same lane then. I'll take it, but I'm going to go with a quarterback. Oh, do I have to stay in this game?
Yeah, we got to stay in this game first.
Okay, so I messed that up last time.
Yes, correct.
Again, you didn't preface it this time, so I'm glad I asked. Because I think I just had. Oh, so can I go with tackle?
Oh, tackle prop. Let's have it.
Tyke Smith over 6.5 tackles and assists. Few different books have this out so far, minus 110. Tyke Smith is the starting safety opposite of Antoine Winfield, plays a ton in the box in run support, and is kind of been right around this number all season long. A couple games, 7, 8, 9. Just a really good tackler. Was a great tackler coming out in college at Georgia. Just his second year. And we have home score or road scorekeeper in Detroit. Detroit is one of these anomalies in my data. Every year, they barely give out assists to the home team. So if you want to bet Lions tackles, you need to find solo tackles. That would be the way that you would want to bet anyone. They give out assists consistently year over year at a really low rate to the home team, but they give them a little bit more the higher rate for the road team. So which is kind of interesting. Again, and I have like 4.5 years of data going into this. So it's not like these weird anomalies. Seems to be something that's, I think, actionable. So Tyke Smith gets a scorekeeper bump with assists because in betting tackles and assists, we don't really care what they are. They all count as one. In a good spot for a team who throws over the middle a lot and runs the football a lot. These things bode well for box safety. So Tyke, I have projected for about 7.6, and we got him at 6.5, minus 110.
I like that. So minus 110 on Tyke Smith, and that'll open up everywhere, I'm guessing, later on during the day. I kind of want to play the one thing that the Bucs' good defense is very good at is stopping the run. And we just saw Gibbs get limited despite getting all the carries against Kansas City on Monday Night Football last week. Maybe the look is like David Montgomery under rushing yards.
Yeah, they talked about they didn't like the proportion of how they broke out the rushing attempts last week. And we saw some of that early in this week in the market where Gibbs' rushing attempts got beat down. I think it dropped like almost 2 full carries. So we saw Montgomery's carry number go up 1. They've talked about wanting to be a little bit more balanced. So it's tricky, but teams skew year over year since Vita Vea has been on the team. The pass rate over expectation against with Tampa Bay is always like the league's highest. Teams skew pass heavy against Tampa Bay all the time. So, if you wanted to take any rushing unders, I think you're probably on the right side of the math there. I think you can go the opposite too and just kind of look at passing attempts, even running back passing. I think there's probably a little bit of flop lag on Gibbs because he wasn't really worked in the passing game at all last game against the Chiefs, which I thought he was going to be. I bet 23.5. I thought that was a good number. And could see them kind of utilizing short passing game to the running backs in place of running into the middle of that front time over time.
Let's try rushing yards. I'm going to go under Rachaad White rushing yards because much like
Connor
Tampa
would be so proud of you.
I know. I'm trying to mix in some unders. I smashed Genty under rushing yards yesterday. And I was like, felt very good about that. He had like 20. It's like, this is great. Dude's like under every week. Unless he breaks out for like 200, then like whatever. You're not going to win them every time. So just play the probabilities on this one. It's just very good rush defense. If we do think that they are the problem becomes if Tampa jumps up like 14-0. I talked about this on the DraftKings show last week with Judkins and the Browns defense, which I did play a lot of combos of. But I was like, look, the Browns defense will not be good unless the Browns jump out to a lead. Now, we know that they're not going to pass, so you want to put Judkins, like pair those two things together, that the Browns aren't going to get to face pass attempts unless Judkins kind of goes off and scores points for the Browns, forcing Tua into throwing. I think it's one of these to think about it like this has to happen and this has to happen for these things to happen. So if Detroit, by the spread, is a 6-point favorite, 5.5-point favorite, whatever it might be, then there's just not going to be a ton of rushing from the Buccaneers. Then you're worried like, oh, they're now into pass defense. They give a draw to Rachaad White, and you're absolutely screwed because he breaks one off for 35 yards. But that's kind of the game that we're playing here, right?
1,000%. Yeah. But, you have to think through it that way. And I think you're right? You're directionally correct. And I think a lot of times, like the game that we're playing is we just want to make those decisions correctly and let the results play themselves out. But I think, are on the right path of how you need to be thinking about this game.
Under 52.5 rushing yards, Rachaad White. I play that at -115 at Bet. Oh, what's this one? Actually, yes. Sorry, 62.5. Sorry, that's Jahmyr Gibbs. I was like, what is going on here? I was like, where are these numbers coming from? 50.5. Now, 52.5, -113 at Bet Rivers right now is the best number on the market. And per the show, you can't do anything that's more than -120 on either. So you can go as plus as you want, but -120 is the limit that we have here. So yeah, -113 for Rachaad White under 52.5 rushing yards. Houston and Seattle is up next. It's -3 right now for the Seahawks at coolbet.com. There's still 3.5s on the market, I believe. Let's go to the odds screen. We'll go to spreads. Yeah, there's still 3.5s. The best odd is 3.5. That's at ESPN Bet, but it's pretty in fliff, but almost uniformly -3, -110 across the board. That's where we're seeing that number coming in. I like Houston in this game to cover the spread.
I like Seattle. Again, it hasn't played itself out the last couple of years as a significant home field advantage, but at least a good spot for the Texans, I guess, schedule wise, where they are coming off the bye, so they get a little bit of extra rest there for sure to mitigate some of that travel. But I'm worried about the Texans' offensive line holding up against this team. The Seahawks get a ton of pressure. They got a 50% pressure rate last time out against Jacksonville. They just can wreak havoc. I'm just really a believer in Mike Macdonald as a head coach. So that worries me here. I think they've been able to piece it together. Last time we saw the Texans, I just didn't believe. Again, they're just beating up on a really bad Ravens team that wasn't 100%. So Stroud under pressure has not been great, and I think the Seahawks get a ton of it.
See, I think this works the other way. I think the move would be, if you like the Texans and the points, which I do, Texans and the under. Because they don't win any sort of shootout. They need to make this like 20-17, 14-10. I mean, 14-10 doesn't really work for them unless they win that game. But you see what I'm saying here. Much like the game that Seattle played against Jacksonville, like Jacksonville's D wasn't good, but they stopped that one JSN bomb, and Seattle doesn't really do anything offensively. The running game has been really bad for Seattle. That is the computer's pick, by the way, which has been bouncing between in real time here, as you can see it up on the screen. It has been bouncing between like 3 to 4, depending on what the price gets right now. But Zach Charbonnet under 39.5 rushing yards is -120 right now at BetMGM. That is the highest number with the best odds. The same at Hard Rock. But even if you go to Pinnacle's the sharpest book in the biz, it's 2 yards lower and -132. So you can jump on that right now. That hits our threshold of -120, but under 39.5 for Zach Charbonnet. I think that makes a ton of sense here. He's been bad anyway, and this is one of the better run defenses in the league.
Yeah, their run defense is good. And the Seattle stuff, I think actually taking unders makes a ton of sense because they're just really, if you look at kind of how it's been playing out, it's been drive by drive. So you can get in these scenarios where it's like, oh, they really leaned on, Kenneth Walker in this game. And it's like, well, no, what happened was they were a little bit more efficient offensively. And that drive lasted 9 plays versus the Charbonnet drive was 3 and out, right? So you could take either side of it. I think probably just taking maybe both sides of the under on the rushing. There's just a lot of outs and how that comes home. So again, obviously a tough matchup because like you stated, Texans defense really solid, especially against the run. Yeah, and Charbonnet's been the worst of the two, right? He's way less explosive and dynamic as Kenneth Walker is. So yeah, I like it. The computer's on the here.
Do you have a lockdown prop for this game? Because I have two that I want to go to, but I'm trying to see what the best number is right now because everything has changed since I put up my super boost on coolbet.com, which is CJ Stroud over 16 rushing yards and Sam Darnold over 3.5 rushing yards. Because I just think both these teams generate pressure and they're going to cause their guys to get off their spot. But I put that out last week on like Friday, so you could have bet it over the weekend. I want to see what that has turned into at this point. So you can take the next pick if you want.
I also was going to go with CJ Stroud rushing yards. So I don't know what you want to do. You want to flip a coin or?
Listen, I can do Darnold over rushing yards. It's 16.5 minus 15.5 minus 115 at Bet Rivers is the best number in the market right now. You can have that if you
make the case for Darnold.
I think that the Texans are going to pressure him a ton, and I think that they don't call him Sammy Scrambles for no reason.
Yeah, it's the same premise for why I think you probably agree. And like CJ Stroud, I played 14.5 on Friday. Still 15.5 is available, and absolutely fine with it. He's been scrambling more, and I already made the case. Part of why I like Seattle is I think they really get home and get some pressure here against a pretty porous Texans offensive line. And we've seen him. I mean, he's had at least 4 rushing attempts in every game except the Baltimore game because
they were up by 1,000 points.
But he also ran once for 30 yards. So like he still got there. So even though one game he didn't need to run a bunch, he was able to get there. So yeah, I just think it's a good spot. 15.5 I think is fine. You could take, plus money at 20 plus would be fine if that's your cup of tea instead. So yeah, Stroud rushing is I think a good play. We're both on it. So it feels good.
Longest rush for Darnold is over under 4.5 yards, and rushing yards for Darnold is, I'm guessing it's 4.5. It is 4.5. That's always fun. That actually makes sense for Sam Darnold, though, as favorites in the game. Because I was worried about that because I had Dak over 3.5 rushing yards yesterday, and he got up to 8. And I was like, he needs to be at like 8 in case they get up by too much. Then he takes some kneel downs at the end of the game to lose this for me.
Yeah, no, kneel downs are definitely something that you got to factor in a little bit. Yeah, but I saw that Dak 3.5 was popping in the EV tool here on the Sharp Stack. So yeah, good play.
I will say, after using this for a while now, if it is giving you a positive over, it's a great play. Because this computer loves unders. If it gives you an over, be like, oh, that should have your attention.
Yeah, I went 3-1 on Sunday or on Saturday college football. Again, didn't watch any of the games, didn't know who the guys were, and I picked off. I was 2-2. It was 2 overs, 2 unders. But when you see those overs towards the top, it's like, okay, there's definitely something here. So yeah, that's definitely how I'm looking at the tool as well.
I don't know if I want to do the Darnold. I like the over 3.5. I know 4.5 is like, that's picking nits a little bit. I'll piggyback with you. I'll do CJ Stroud over. Was it 9.5 longest rush? Yeah, nice. 9.5 longest rush minus 105.
Yeah, they're separate bets. Like you said, you get there with the 30-yard rush last time out. It's been, again, that's kind of how these guys are doing it, right? Unless you're a Jalen Hurts or, even a Jane Daniels. Like these guys are not volume rushers. It's game dependent. It's pressure dependent. A lot of design runs being called for these guys, but you're seeing just more athletic guys playing the position, and teams are, giving them the green light to take advantage of that and just scramble along the sideline, step out, and then, survive and play the next play.
So we're getting updates in real time. We keep seeing that Zach Charbonnet one from the computer pop back in. Amon-Ra plus 125 under 6.5 catches is a strong player. That's outside the minus 120 plus 120 threshold. Sam Darnold rushing yard under 5.5 is up there. But it's almost the same as where's the first over we have here? Jeez, where's Jaden Higgins at? I feel like that would be a play, like whatever over his number is. Baker Mayfield over 243 passing yards at minus 117. That's the best over on the board right now, I think. Wow. A lot of unders in these games. All right, so yeah, Sam Darnold under 5.5 rushing yards is what the computer is taking. We will go with it. Under 5.5 rushing yards. I hope that one loses. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, find a nice middle.
Oh, you know what? A new one just popped up. Woody Marks over 29.5 rushing yards. So we get an over at minus 115 then.
Interesting. Okay. My last was going to be Woody Marks, but not rushing yards.
Receiving, I would bet.
I think Woody Marks in the receiving game, I think is viable. It's 15.5, I believe. Let me see if that's if we're currently moving at all. Let's see, Woody Marks. Yeah, still available. 15 and a half, 14 and a half on Hard Rock. But again, that'll play the 15 and a half. That's more widely available for people at FanDuel, DraftKings, whatnot. I just was really more involved in long down and distance stuff. Like there was way more Nick Chubb than I thought we were going to have in the Baltimore game, but the game got so out of whack that there really weren't many long down and distance snaps. There wasn't any trailing game scripts. There wasn't any 2-minute drill. So the Woody Mark stuff, really didn't play itself out in the Baltimore game. But I think, again, neutral to trailing game script, which I think is in play, is just going to lend itself to more opportunities here. And actually, no team is allowed more receptions or faced more targets to opposing running backs this season than the Seattle Seahawks. So Woody Marks over 15 and a half. Again, you could play minus 111 on DraftKings, 114 on FanDuel. Very much in play.
Okay, I am going to go with, I was actually thinking about the shocker of all shockers, an under on JSN receptions.
I mean, look, they've been a low volume passing offense. This is a tough matchup with really good safeties and Derek Stingley, a great cornerback. So it's definitely the toughest path that they've had so far. The challenge with that is if you are pro Texans, you would lead them to probably a higher passing rate than we've seen in the past. And he's just dominating target share so much. So that's the challenge, is that even the ancillary pieces in that passing game kind of have difficult matchups. So I would expect Darnold to lean on JSN, but I get it. It's the toughest matchup he's faced for sure.
Tell you this, do not search Christian Kirk on Twitter.
Okay.
It is not giving you when you think about those two words independently from one another. That's the stuff that comes up. I'm not getting injury updates on Christian Kirk here, because he was dealing with a hamstring injury over the weekend. I thought he was a bit gimped up.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no, he's done. He's done. Christian Kirk's out.
He is out. Okay, good. Yeah, that's why I was looking at the Jaden Higgins stuff. But the best odds is over 2.5 minus 125.
Yeah.
Don't love that.
I think Jake, one of our prop guys, I think pushed out 20 and a half on like Thursday, where it looked like Kirk wasn't going to play. And then, definitely feels like the best of the numbers is gone. Doesn't mean that the 30 and a half is bad, but, personally, when I feel like I know someone got in at 20 and a half, it's a hard bet for me to make.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see. Yeah, Kenneth Walker's not doing any receiving at all, is he? I guess they just haven't had to check down, have they?
I just don't know why. Like, he's really good in space. I feel like that's just a guy that I would want to try to get him the ball a couple times a game where he can get a running head start. But they just seem to not do that. So I don't know, if you wanted to bet Kenneth Walker receiving, that's just like a place I would immediately go to alt legs and just be like, yeah, he's going to catch one ball for 15 yards or none at all.
You know, I'm just going to make it easy on myself. I'll take CJ Stroud, longest rush. I'll take CJ Stroud under 228 passing yards.
There you go.
I feel like unders on quarterback passing yards this year have been very fruitful.
Yeah, I think there's a few things at play, right? I think we have like the new field position stuff too. I think you have some teams, obviously, they just feel like they're naturally in field goal position more often. So you have some teams that are comfortable, just kicking those field goals. So a lot of times, like your actual offensive operating area is like the 30 to the other 30. And it's just not a lot of yards, right? You're just not having a lot of like, oh, get the ball in the 20, driving all the way down 80 yards and having these like 65, 70 yard passing drives. I think that's definitely part of it.
All right. So to recap what we have done between me, you, and the Sharp Stack system, 4for4.com/Mayo, use code Mayo50, get a free 7-day trial, test it out. Then you get 50% off the monthly deal after that. I have taken under 52.5 rushing yards for Rachaad White from the first game. CJ Stroud over 9.5 yards as the longest rush for him in the second game. And my bonus is actually going to be CJ Stroud under 228.5 passing yards in that game. You've taken Tyke Smith over 6.5 tackles plus assists, CJ Stroud over 15.5 rushing yards, and Woody Marks over 15.5 receiving yards. We have Baker Mayfield under 22.5 completions per the computer, under 39.5 rushing yards for Zach Charbonnet per the computer, and Woody Marks over 29.5 rushing yards from that late game as well. Those are each of our 3 picks. How you feeling about it? I'll put these together probably as same gamers on Underdog as well.
We just give Connor 3 L's, right? That feels appropriate.
What's that? Sorry. Oh, yeah,
We'll just give
Connor's not here, so he's 0-3.
He's 0-3 for the week. I mean, what are we doing here? So,
It's like in Survivor.
I mean, I see messages in Discord like he's alive. He's just opted out of being with us today. What a jerk. He gets 3 L's.
Has he put anything in Discord of something that, like any plays?
None. No, not in Discord. I'm sorry. He's in Slack. So he's working. He's alive. He just, couldn't make time for us today. What are we doing?
I guess so. Well, we'll see him next week as we try to come up with 3 each for the Monday Night Football game next week. That will get a bit more difficult. Maybe we do our best one and we'll do a random one. If you had to play, I know you're not big on the first touchdown market, but anything you're looking for there?
First touchdown tonight? I mean, I think the rules of the first touchdown market is you just cross off like 3 or 4 guys at the top and then, dig in for, the backup tight end. So
I was going to say, what's Arroyo or AJ Burner for the second game? That's where you want to be looking.
Yeah, I feel like Arroyo's probably a little bit longer. So yeah, he is. He's 28 to 1 on DraftKings, where Barner is 15. So yeah, let's go Elijah Arroyo, first touchdown, 28 to 1.
Bronson Arroyo, 28 to 1, first touchdown in the late game. CJ Stroud's 35 to 1. If we like him for over rushing yards, that might actually be a bad look.
It's actually probably not a bad look. Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
There we go. We'll play Arroyo and Stroud 28 and 35 to 1. I got no feel for that stupid other game. Could it just be like one of the random jabronis on the Buccaneers that we're not even thinking? Cameron Johnson, 45 to 1.
Yeah, Tez Johnson.
Tez is like bad odds though.
Yeah, he's like 30 on FanDuel is the best Tez number. Ryan Miller, 45 to 1. Ross Dwelly is 45 to 1.
Smelly Dwelly.
Yeah.
What's Sean
That'd
Tucker?
be your thing.
Sean Tucker is terrible odds. And Cust is playing him in fantasy this week. Like using him in his lineup, but he's 30 to 1. He has the same odds as Baker. I'd rather just bet Baker.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do. I will play a Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud first touchdown parlay. You know what? Maybe I'll make it first team touchdown parlay, to make it a bit more reasonable.
Yeah. That's fun. Probably still decent odds.
Okay.
Probably still 60 or change, I would think.
Yeah. That's Monday Night Football. Myself, Noonan. Thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate it as always, bud.
Yeah. Are you going to be putting any of these plays into Discord or not?
I will definitely play Tyke Smith if he's widely released. I played the CJ Stroud number already. The Woody Marks I really like. I looked at it briefly last night and definitely felt confident to give it as one of my 3. But yeah, I think I'm going to consider it for sure. But Tyke Smith will be a play for me.
All right, you can check out the Mayo Media newsletter later on Monday, and it'll have some of the plays in there, plus a recap of the week, all the game notes, all the injuries. That'll be up on 4for4.com as well. Thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. See you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!